I had a fantastic opening teaser segment talking about how it was time to put my latest aluminum ingot mold to the test. Unfortunately, I ran into some GoPro problems. For a bit there, I feared I had lost all of my footage. I'm happy to say, though, that most of the footage made it through, but the start is kind of rocky. Anyway, let's start up the music and get this thing going. The problem I had with my first attempt at this project was that the newly poured ingot did not release from the mold. I wanted to make sure on this go around that the sides of the mold cavity were as smooth as I could get them. What you should be watching right now is me putting the Dremel sanding band to the inside of this ingot mold. But again, those GoPro problems did something to this file, so just trust me, I did that. Here's some good footage finally, at least until I start putting my head in the way. I was not able to get the sanding band into the corners. I was concerned that molting aluminum might flow into the corners and get stuck. I grabbed my Dremel metal bits and attempted to smooth out the corners. Looking back on things, I should have 3D printed this piece with rounded corners. If I ever go back and redo any of this, that'll be something I put on the list. This task, rounding those corners, smoothing them out, was not nearly as easy as I had expected. The bit wanted to jump all around on this first corner. The other corners, though, seemed to go a bit better. I think I did at least a halfway decent job on the inside of this mold. The floor of the mold looks rough, especially when compared to the sides. But I wasn't really seeing anything that I thought the molten aluminum might grab onto. Before moving on, I wanted to share one of the adjustments I made along the way in this project. One of the issues raised by one of my viewers had to do with the heat sink properties of my second attempt. Not being an engineer, I wasn't even considering the ratio of heat sink material to the volume of molten metal. It was suggested that I have at least twice as much heat sink metal to molten metal. So before pouring, I wanted to see what my ratio was. It turned out that I had nearly a 4.5 to 1 ratio of heat sink to molten metal material by weight. I was pretty confident that this mold was going to hold up. The only issue would be if the ingot was going to release after the pour. There was another mold that I wanted to test out. As this project moved along from attempt number 1 to attempt number 4, I was contacted by fellow Idahoan Eric from Chatter on the Wire. He offered to make me a mold similar to what I was making, but out of graphite. Filmed here was his first attempt. If he decides to turn this into something on his channel, link in the description below, this will turn into my very first collaboration video. Alright, here we go. The first test. Will the new mold hold up to the heat? I wanted to give the aluminum plenty of time to cool down before unmolding. The last thing I wanted to do was to get impatient and then mess this thing up. I did have a little trouble, at least with the first go around, with the graphite mold. Just to give everyone a heads up, I was not prepared for what happened next.
Yeah, baby! Yeah! Yeah!
Yep, it took me that long for it to sink in. I really was processing what had just happened. I was looking at the mold, and I was looking at the ingot. I was not believing that it had actually worked. And then it hit me that it had actually worked. And then it was time to give another go at getting the graphite ingot out of its mold. I've since used the graphite mold a second time, and the ingot popped right out. It was clear that a small piece of the mold hung into the aluminum that first pour. Thanks a whole bunch for watching. If you found this video entertaining, informative, or any such things like that in any way, shape, or form, please like and subscribe. Blessings.